Hello, are you thinking about moving to Bellevue, Washington? Well, congratulations. You are headed to one of the most beautiful and most expensive areas of Washington state, but it is a fabulous area to live. If you had all the money that you wanted to buy any house that you wanted, that is the area that I would recommend living in if you had to drive in and be accessible to Bellevue and or Seattle for the downtown office buildings. So we're going to look at the things that you need to be aware of as you plan your move to Bellevue, from where to live, cost of living, and what's going to make it easy to get the job done. So come with me. I'm Bellevue Realtor Emily Cressey with Keller Williams Greater Seattle, here to help make your move a success. Stick around to the end. I'll share with you how you can make your move as simple and stress-free as possible. So the first thing to do as you look at Bellevue is to assess the neighborhoods that you're interested in living in. For example, you could live in a beautiful condominium in downtown Bellevue where all the high rises are. Go down, hit the streets, walk to Bellevue Square, have that downtown urban experience. Or you could go out to a gated community on Lake Washington and live on Yarrow Point, Hunts Point, or maybe Clyde Hill, where you can have a view of the water even though you're not out on it. Or you could look further west to Lake Sammamish, get some woods over there, a little bit more of a foresty or suburban feel. And don't forget to check out all of the surrounding suburbs, which are going to be really great. Redmond is where Microsoft is located. Kirkland is right on the water. It has a lot of fun beaches and a walkable downtown, great for shopping and kind of cruising around, going to coffee shops, pubs, things like that on foot. And then there are a lot of neighborhoods that aren't maybe as glamorous or well known, even a lot of older, quieter neighborhoods where you can feel like you're away from it all, but still have great proximity to the downtown area. One thing to think about if you do have kids or plan to have school age kids, there are a lot of fabulous public schools in the area that get very good ratings, but some people still don't want to send their kids to public school. And so think about where you want your kids to go. Bellevue Christian is a really popular choice, and there are some other private schools in the area as well. So if that is something that's on your radar, not only looking at proximity to work, but also proximity to school and how dropping your kids off and picking them up every day might factor into your scheduling and your planning. Next, I want to take a look at the cost of living in Bellevue and actually budgeting to buy your home here. This is the most expensive area in the state. This is just letting you in a little MLS back behind the scenes here. I'm looking for homes that are around $1 million, 1 million to 1.1, that are currently for sale in the Seattle area. And bear in mind, it is January as I film this, so it's not like the hottest time of year. But you'll look and you'll see, we've got plenty up here north of Lake Washington. We've got plenty here in Seattle. Not too many in South Seattle. This tends to be a rougher area, more industrial area. Some in Renton. But as you move up into Newcastle and what we call the east side of the lake, there is almost nothing for sale. And this may be because it's a Tuesday today. Most of our inventory gets listed on Thursday, has the weekend to look at it, and then they have an offer review date on Monday when they receive offers, and they often will get more than one offer on a listing here. And then it goes up and somebody buys it on Monday and then it goes off the market. So we have that to think about too. But as you can see, there's nothing here the whole east side. This is the first one. I'm looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath or larger. And this is the first one that we see, which is looks like a split entry in Kirkland. We adjust our criteria up from about 1 million to closer to 2 million. And bear in mind, I'm looking for stuff that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, at least 100 square feet. Let's look at the map again. And we start to see a few more options. So we have this one for 2 million. This looks like a new construction. We have something up here in Cottage Lake for 2 million. That's a condominium. A $2 million condominium. Yep, this is what we have. And then down in Newcastle here, which is sort of south of downtown Bellevue, getting close to Renton, but we see a lot of new construction in this area. Bellevue is kind of stretching that Bellevue effect, stretching north and south around the whole east side of Lake Washington, which is very long. So here's a new construction home that's priced at $2 million. So just to say, if this is an area that you're looking in, we can find, if we look at sold data for the last 90 days, which is over Christmas time, which again is not a super busy time of year, we should be able to see a little bit more activity. The red ones are sold. So we have more sales, but we don't have very many active, and it's just tough. It's a very desirable place to live. So that means you're going to have high prices and you're going to have to move quickly when you're looking at a home. This is why, for me, with my clients, when we're looking at property, I always try to invite them to look at about 10 properties without any buying pressure. Leave your credit card at home. We're not here to make an offer on anything. We're just looking at 10 properties that are kind of in the ballpark of your price range in your neighborhoods so that you can get a feel for what's out there, see how far your money goes. Do you prefer Kirkland? Do you prefer Newcastle? Do you prefer Sammamish? Do you prefer Redmond or Woodinville? We're kind of getting an idea of what's available here on the east side of the lake so that when you see something that you like, you are prepared to move because you got to strike quickly. And in some cases, you have to pay over asking price for the property because they do tend to sell out. So here, we can see this property sold in 3 days, and it sold for 102% of asking price. So they were listed for $2 million and they sold for $50,000 over. And this was closed at the beginning of January, so they probably found that one in December. So just to say, this is the market that we're in right now. It could change, but it tends to be pretty much like this. This is a median price graph over the last 4 years, 5 years. And so right here, this is December 2024. That's the last data that we have from the MLS. And you can see that the prices overall in Bellevue are much higher than the prices overall in Seattle. So you're going to be paying a premium for living on the east side. Now let's talk a little bit about the timeline when it comes to purchase your home. Typically from the day you find your perfect home, you give them the offer, you sign it, you say, here, I'm paying you $1 million for this property. They say, yes, we want you. They sign that. From the day that that happens, we typically have about 30 days until we get the keys and you're moving into your home. So if you wanted to be, let's say, moving into the home on June 1st, then you would want to have found that home on May 1st, a month before. And typically, I try to encourage people to have 2 or 3 months of shopping time to be looking around for the home, kind of getting to know the market, finding the home that they like, and making an offer on the property. So again, if you had a June 1st closing date, you wanted to find the property on May 1st, you might want to count back April, March, and even February to be looking for that property. So just to give you an idea, it could be a 4 or 5 month process. Of course, if you're a fast decision maker or you just don't have that much time, you can always move more quickly. There tends to be more homes for sale, more selection to choose from in the spring and the fall. And our slower months here tend to be the summer months because everybody says, hey, the sun's out, let's go on vacation. And the winter months when it's dark and cold and rainy, and we've got the holidays, that time from about Thanksgiving to beginning of January is kind of shut down for the most part. So bear in mind the time of year that you're shopping, as well as the number of months you have to find the home, excuse me, so that you can really allow yourself enough time to get into a property that you're going to be happy with long term. So let's talk about getting to know Bellevue before the big move. Now, before you actually invest $1 million or more into buying a home in Bellevue, it would be great if you had been here before, if you had looked around, if you kind of had an idea of the lay of the land. Buying a property is a big deal, and it's worth it, I think, to invest in a little time in the area. So when you come to Bellevue, there are certain kind of must-do things. You can go drive around and look at the downtown area, go to Bellevue Square, which is our big shopping mall area, kind of district there. There's some nice restaurants and things like that. And then go to the smaller communities. Go walk on the Sammamish River Trail. Go to the farmers market if it's the summer. Go to the library or the grocery store, especially in an area that you're thinking about living. Like if there's a community that you have your eye on, think about your lifestyle. And if I lived in this community, where would I go? Go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, go to the mom and pop restaurants, cafes, the haircut place, the Starbucks. At least drive around and get a feel for where those things are located and how fancy they may or may not be. And if you're brave, what I like to do is actually get out of the car and talk with people. So like if I'm showing a property to somebody and we have maybe just gone in and said, wow, this is a beautiful home. We come out and we see somebody working in their garage or mowing the lawn or something on Saturday. I'll just go over to them and say, hey, we're thinking about buying this home over here. What can you tell us about the neighborhood? And then see what pops into their mind, and then maybe prompt them with a couple of questions that are important to you. Do you have kids in the schools? What have you heard about the schools? Is it safe here? Any issues with crime or homelessness? Where do you go into work? What is your commute like? So getting an idea of what some of those lifestyle factors are that are a little bit more hidden would be a really great place to start with any conversations. And if you don't know exactly what neighborhood you're going to be in, at least it's a great thing to talk to somebody in line at the grocery store or just stop them in the produce aisle and say hello. Seattle gets a bad rap for the Seattle freeze and people saying that we're not very friendly, but for the most part, people like to help each other. And if you come, with a friendly attitude, I'm sure you'll get lots of different people to give you advice. Also, if you like to work out, check out the gym. That can be a great place to meet new people and make new friends, as well as looking at meetup.com and seeing what kind of activities are taking place in your neighborhood. A lot of pubs will have things like a trivia night or a game night. There are a lot of bicycle riding groups here on the east side. So just think about, if it was Saturday or a day off or an evening off, how would you like to spend your time? And go do a little research to see if your imagining of what that would look like corresponds well to the reality of what's available. And last but not least, to make this easy for you, I would really suggest that you stay flexible and seek support. So a lot of us are very informationally empowered. Thanks to the internet, thanks for all of our ability to read Reddit and forums and watch YouTube videos like this. You're gathering a lot of research, you're taking in a lot of data, but it's not really until you have a local guide holding your hand and kind of showing you these things that it really comes, it makes that change from being very hypothetical and very analytical to what's actually available in my price range, what am I gonna like, and what's kind of that emotional connection and resonance with the options. So don't feel like you have to research everything and just be ready to point at a property. And like I've had people say, I want a property between 1,800 square feet and 1,950 square feet. I want the price per square foot to be between $556 and $600 per square foot. I mean, some of us are very analytical and we really get things dialed in, but I don't want you to feel like you have to be that. And that's the thing about real estate. I think that's every house is different. This is why it's still a people business more than a computer-based business. So please feel free to ask for support. I am not your high-pressured salesperson. My husband is in technology. He's an IT guy, and he hates salespeople. And I'm like, hey, I'm a salesperson. But really, I feel like I'm much more of a consultant. And that's why I like to make videos like this. My approach is much more educational. I want to empower you and give you the information that you need to make good decisions. Now, the next step is working with whoever you would consider to be your dream team. Typically, the lead on this is going to be your real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent in Bellevue. I would love to help you with this. And what you're looking for here is someone who knows the market in general, who understands the trends, the dynamics of what homes are selling for, how quickly they're selling, and what type of offer you need to make in order to be competitive, and then who can help guide you through this process. So, the experience of the agent is one component, and the experience that the agent creates for you as the home shopper is another component. And if you're doing this remotely from out of town because you're moving into the area, it can be even more complicated. So it helps to work with someone who is familiar with relocation. And that's one of the reasons that I have this channel, is to help people who are in the process of relocation to the Seattle area. And I'd be more than happy to talk with you about how this works. But typically, the buyers that I work with have three main concerns for the property. So, number one is ensuring that they don't overpay. Everybody wants a deal. And it's not Amazon Prime where you just see the advertised price and click, and it's delivered to your door 5 hours later. So we have to negotiate, and sometimes that means paying asking price. Sometimes it means offering less than asking price. And sometimes, especially in Bellevue, it can mean being prepared to have a competitive offer, which might mean doing things like paying to inspect the home before you submit your offer. It might mean waiving some amount of financing protection or appraisal protection, or it might mean escalating your offer so that the price that you pay is higher than all of the other prices, but not by too much. At the end of the day, sellers want certainty that the offer is going to close, as well as a high price. So it's important that your offer is constructed to reflect both of those values to make make the seller feel secure in selecting you. The second thing that you need to be aware of is that you're not missing anything. If the home has a septic system in the backyard and you thought it was on sewer, that might be a surprise. If there was a school district that you wanted to be in, we might need to confirm that before you take the plunge. So making sure that everything is there for you is really important. What I like to do typically is to go out, especially if you're remote, and do a video tour of the home myself. We're not relying on on the beautifully photoshopped and color corrected pictures, or the 3D tour, or the video slideshow tour of the home in order to make a buying decision. I'm going out there with my camera. I'm trying all of the doors. I'm seeing what sticks. I'm looking up at the roof line for mold. I'm shining the flashlight in the crawl space. I'm opening the cabinets. I'm checking for moisture under the sink. I'm trying to do all of those things to kind of put the property through its paces, and photo and video documenting that for you so that you have a really good sense of what's actually going on at the home. I've had clients tell me that it humanizes the home. It's like meeting the model with her makeup off rather than seeing her picture on the cover of Vogue, right? You might not even know that it was the same person sometimes. So going through all of that helps make sure that we're not missing anything, and we're looking around at the street, we're seeing what's going on with the neighbors. I want you to have a really good understanding of what the property looks like before you decide whether you want to fly out and visit it or make an offer sight unseen. But I've had clients do both. That's totally up to you, but I'm here to help you with your due diligence. And then third is confirming that there's nothing actually physically wrong with the house, which means having a proper home inspection. Sometimes this can be provided by the seller. The seller has done a home inspection and given that to us to take a look at. That's good. That's one level of evidence. It doesn't necessarily mean that we trust it, but it's certainly better than nothing, and that these inspectors are licensed and they do follow certain rules. The next thing that you could do is to hire your own inspector, either before you get the property under contract if it's a competitive situation and lots of buyers are looking, or after you get the property under contract, to make sure there's not, a crack in the foundation, a hole in the roof, the electrical system is outdated. If we have problems, and there are a handful of different problems that we experience here in the Northwest on a pretty regular basis, especially dependent on the age of the home, the weather that the home experiences, etc., we really want to have an experienced, diligent, licensed inspector go through the property and make sure that we're not missing anything. So that's why my team and I have these structures set up to help you make sure that we're checking off all of these boxes and you're not getting any kind of a bad surprise when you go into a house, even if you do have to be aggressive on pricing or waiving some of your contingency protections. So when we see a property for sale and we want to make an offer, the first step is to compare this home that's for sale to others in the neighborhood that are either also for sale, have recently gone under contract, or have closed in the last 3 to 6 months. And that helps us know whether the price they're asking is realistic. Sometimes the seller will overprice the property because they think it's wonderful. They're full of optimism. And sometimes they'll underprice it, saying we're going to price it low. We're going to get everybody and their brother out to look at it. We're going to attract a lot of offers and drive up the price. So that's why we need to make a good researched decision when we're deciding how much to pay for this property. One question you'll want to think about as you're structuring your offer is who has more leverage in the negotiation. That means who has most of the strength and the power. If the property has just been listed and it's gorgeous and hundreds of people are coming out to look at it, the seller has more leverage. They're probably going to get multiple people interested and they can name their price. They can choose which buyer to work with. They will probably have the price go up above what it's asking. So in that case, the seller has the leverage and not the buyer. On the other hand, if the property has been sitting on the market for 3 or 4 months, nobody's coming out to look at it. They haven't had any offers on the home, or maybe they had some lowball offers that they turned away. And in this case, the seller is feeling really nervous. Will I ever sell this house? Will I have to drop the price? Maybe I'll have to drop the price again. The agent is feeling nervous. Maybe this listing is going to expire and I'm not going to get paid for my months of work on this property. So everybody's feeling a little bit more motivated on the seller side in that situation. And that means you as a buyer can come in a little bit more aggressively and set a price and terms that are more favorable to you. So obviously you'll want to choose someone reliable that you can work with and who's experienced in helping buyers with relocation to the Bellevue area. My pledge to you is to put your interests first, put your interests before my own. Some agents are very nervous about getting commissions. They are not going to make their mortgage if they don't sell a property this month. And when that happens, it can be easy to try to push their clients into a house or a closing that may not work for them. I'm fortunate to not be in that position. I have plenty of money already. I don't necessarily need your business, although I would love to have it. I really enjoy working with clients, and especially with people who I've met through YouTube. They kind of already know me, and we always have very good rapport because it's not just someone that I'm meeting through cold calling or blind ads. It's someone who has seen my face, knows how I communicate, and values my time. So I am excited to work with you, and I do a lot for my clients. We typically will have a weekly meeting, often on Thursdays, which is when the majority of new listings come onto the market. And we're taking that time to review new possibilities that they might be interested in. That might mean that they come to town and we look at them together on Saturday. It may mean that I go out and make videos of them, and you can review those videos and decide if there's something that you want to pursue further. But I'm very structured. I have a process that works, and I take you through that process to help take the stress out of it, take the uncertainty out of it, and let you know that there is a method to doing this well, and we will see you through. If we're having trouble finding the type of property that you want, then we can talk about other alternatives, whether that means maybe compromising on location, price, or type of home. Those are the 3 areas that we can adjust. Or whether it means maybe the home that you want just doesn't exist. We're kind of looking for a needle in a haystack or a special unicorn property, and it's just not out there. So we'll talk about that and what that means. And if you are, for example, interested in, let's say, a certain area, a golf neighborhood with a house on the green, there's a very small number of houses like that. What we can do is actually approach the homeowners who have a potential house. We will get a list. I will call, door knock, mail, whatever we need to do to get in touch with those folks and see if we can catch somebody before they sell their home. I had this happen last year. Wanted to live next to their parents in a small community, door knocked the houses in the community, found an elderly woman who was planning to sell but hadn't put her house on the market, and were able to put together an off market deal. So, as your buyer's agent, those deals can and do come together. They work especially well if you have something very specific that you're looking for, and it's in a low turnover area where we can kind of pinpoint and hunt down specific folks that might be motivated to work with you. I'm putting my resume up here too because, frankly, somebody asked me about it yesterday, which I thought was great, but I don't actually get a lot of questions about it. So I just thought I would kind of introduce myself. I have been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. I went to a private high school here in Seattle. I got a full ride college scholarship to the University of North Carolina, where I studied economics, was inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society, and then I started investing. And I bought single family houses in North Carolina to rent out, bought about a dozen of those, started teaching an adult education coaching program that I was hired to teach and go fly around the country, speak in different hotel conference rooms and things like that, and then do one-on-one coaching to help people who wanted to buy investment property. And then from there, I was able to leverage those relationships and get into commercial real estate syndications, raising private funds to buy a shopping center, apartment building, raw land, manufacturing facilities. And we did that very well and very successfully. I got married, I moved back to Seattle, got into commercial real estate brokerage here in Seattle in the year 2008, which you may recall had both a real estate market adjustment and a finance stock market adjustment at the same time. And so, as it turned out, my son had some special needs, and with the market having changed, it was a perfect opportunity for me to take some time off, attend to his health. We homeschooled for a while. My daughter was born, and eventually he fully recovered. We got him back into a little private school where he's well supported. My daughter's there too. And we are back in the real estate brokerage game. So I am thrilled to be here helping you. And I love this business and I love really connecting with people. So if you would like to work with me and you'd like to know how I can help, yeah, just look me up. This is my team, such as it is. It's pretty much me. You're going to be working with me and only me. At this point, I do have some administrative help, some VAs from overseas who help me with things like marketing flyers, editing videos like this one, my social media presence, and those types of things. And then I do have a couple of junior agents at my firm who cover for me when I go on vacation or when I have 5 buyers that all want to look at a house on Saturday morning. I can help get everybody in the door in the time that they want to by leveraging a couple other people. But for the most part, you're just going to be working with me, which is really lovely. So I encourage you to reach out. I am here to help. And if you have any questions about moving to Bellevue or other surrounding areas in the Puget Sound, we go up to Everett and down to Tacoma, and of course covers the Seattle area as well. So I'm happy to help and look forward to meeting you. And until then, I will see you on the next video.